The stock which is under pressure and has halved from its 52-week high is Greenpanel Industries, and that's because the margins for the company actually compressed by nearly 1,200 basis points in the fourth quarter itself. There was weakness across all their segments for MDF as well as plywood. We have with us the CFO of the company, Mr. Venkatramani, to join in and give us more about the business outlook from here. Mr. Venkatramani, thank you for joining in. If you could give us a sense of how you view realizations and volume growth in the first half of this year, because you had earlier guided for near 10-12% sort of volume growth coming by in FY24, and you said realizations should improve, and this was at the end of the third quarter. They haven't improved in the fourth quarter. What are you witnessing in the first half of this fiscal? What can you guide for?
I think we are looking at a 12 to 15% volume growth in the MDF segment during FY24. And we are looking at 10% volume growth in the plywood business for FY24.
Okay, so plywood volume growth 10%, MDF at 12 to 15%. Can you explain the outlook on margins going ahead? Because this quarter you've seen a very sharp margin contraction. What is the expected performance on margins going ahead, and what would be the drivers?
Okay, so if you look at the key factors which impacted margins in this quarter was one was the distorted ratio of the geographical mix. If you look at quarter 3, we had a mix of 79% domestic and 21% exports. And in this quarter, it moved to 69% domestic and 31% export. So that is one of the major reasons for the dip in margins. There was other factors like, we saw an increase in raw material cost. We saw increase in the brand spend. And also we took some cut in export pricing. So these factors impacted the margins for Q4. I think going forward, we should see an improvement on all this except for the raw materials. We expect raw material prices to be stable, but we are not looking at any reduction in raw material prices. So the improvement in the other factors should give some stability to the margins going forward.
What was the rationale for you, selling more in the export markets where the realizations are nearly half of domestic? I'm just looking at your presentation. Your export realization is roughly 17,000 per cubic meter, and you have domestic realization at nearly 33,000 per cubic meter. That's point number one. And secondly, where do you see this realization trend going forward?
See, our domestic realizations continue to be stable on an average about 33,000. And one of the key reasons for the difference between domestic and exports is that we have a very high mix of value-added products in the domestic segment. About 50% of our volumes come from value-added products, whereas in exports, it's probably about 2% value-added products. So that's the reason for the significant difference. And the export markets are also seen several price cuts this year because imports which have made a comeback into India have also impacted our key export markets in the Middle East. So we have taken price cuts aggregating to about 16% in quarter 3 and quarter 4. But going forward, I think we should see a reversal in export pricing. Export pricing will start to improve from quarter 2. Quarter 1 will not see any significant change, because of carry forward of orders from the last financial year. But we should see an improvement in export realizations from quarter 2, and domestic realizations should continue to be stable.
Very quickly, you said export prices were lowered by 16% over Q3 and Q4. And it will start picking up in Q2 of next year, Q2 FY24. How much are you looking to up the export pricing, or what would the realization stand at?
See, we are looking at an 8 to 10% increase in export pricing from Q2. And going forward, as the markets continue to improve, we would look at further price increases on the export side.
And your earlier margin guidance of 23 to 25% for FY24 stays, right?
That's right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Venkatramani, for joining in and giving us your views on the business going forward. Q2 onwards, things should start improving, especially on the export fronts, while they have guided for nearly 12 to 15% volume growth in MDF in this year, 10 to 12%, or rather 8 to 10% on their plywood business. That's Greenpanel.